Hello everyone, I am back to making videos. It has been 10 days since the Inktober challenge and I have just been taking a break. I've been really ill at one point. I've now recovered and it's time to present a video that I have prepared and made quite a bit earlier. In fact, some of the drawing was done in September and then this video was made after all of that because basically there are 3 CD cases that I'm going to be making in this video, but I'm going to show you the drawing for the first one. And the first one was, the idea is to make a CD case for my brother's birthday, and this is the card that I made for him, and here it is. So I started with a post-it note, just like I have done for a couple of videos, inspired by the Peter Draws prompt, and I basically draw from that in order to make a kind of doodle that has different coloured elements to it from top to bottom. I thought it was a really fun drawing when I was engaged with it, because drawing from imagination, something which I really enjoy and like sinking my teeth into anyway, and then adding the element of different coloured pens instead of black was actually something I thought really made it pop quite a bit, and it's something I might do again in the future. But at the time it was just a spontaneous decision for the birthday card that accompanied the 3 CDs that I made as a gift for my brother. So here it is. This is what I started drawing. Now let me just mention that this is also going to be very much just inspired by a Kim Jung-gi style doodling, where parts of it are kind of, based on real things that you see in your life and things that you can imagine, and other things become quite abstract because I do use shapes that I think could be one thing, and then the drawing takes a turn so that they could be representative of either something else or nothing at all. And that's just a little trick that I've started using to make my drawings have that dichotomy of reality and fantasy at the same time, and helps push my doodles into a realm of kind of play that they wouldn't have tapped into were it not for that technique, I suppose. But the pens added a lot, and it really juiced the drawing and made it push forward beyond what it would have done were I to have just used one colour pen, or as I said earlier, just black ink, which I do love, and I really appreciate black ink. It's certainly not the end of me doing that, but doing it with different colours just made me really excited to see what it would look like once I removed the post-it note, and this is what it was. Initially, I was going to make this video about how I'd traveled around recently and been visiting different places. For example, one of the places I visited was a gallery in Carnarvon, where one of my pieces was included in their art open, and it's a lovely gallery. It's called Life Full Colour. And after being at the Art Open, the launch, with lots of other artists and having really interesting conversations, I ended up at another property owned by the lady who runs the gallery, which is a wine bar and a cocktail bar. And I had this lovely non-alcoholic cocktail. There's artwork all over the walls. It's a really nice place and very good people. So I enjoyed the visit there, and it was a bit of a crazy, busy time, really, because it was also when I was doing daily drawings. But instead of covering this with tons of footage about that, I'm just going to get into my thought process making this piece of art itself. Now, when it came to doing these drawings, what I ended up doing was I made sure that they had some kind of thread which connected all of them. So having these kinds of collages and splash page of doodles was the theme for each of the CD covers. I wanted to make sure that all of them were very busy with different images, and they had some kinds of elements of music and vehicles. There's a reason for that. I won't get into it, but that was definitely the brief in my head. The drawing that you're seeing here was done on the 30th of September, I believe. It may have been slightly earlier, but I think it was the end of that month. And then I had a comment on another video which I'd made asking me whether I'm engaging with the Inktober challenge, and I hadn't even realized that was upon me at that point. And it was the 1st of October when I'd seen that message, and I decided to make a video for the 1st of October, just a quick drawing, uploaded it as efficiently as I could, and then that was it. I'd started the challenge. But what had happened was I'd done this quick drawing, but I put a number on the shirt of this character that I'd drawn, saying number 1. That dictated to me that every single drawing for the month would need the day numbered on the drawing somewhere, because that's just how that happens to me sometimes, is that not only is the theme for these CD cases going to be this thread of splash pages, busyness, cars and music, or vehicles and music, but also numbers. Now, the drawing which I'm doing now wasn't part of the Inktober challenge, but the other 2 CD cases were. So the 2nd of October was the next CD case, and that is the Inktober video that I'll have them linked in the description. Actually, is the 2 other CD cases, Inktober 2 and 3, will be linked in the description of this video. But basically that had the number 2 in it, just like the third one had number 3 in it. That became the theme for my Inktober, was whatever drawing I did, I'd put the number in the drawing, and then part of my challenge as well was to hide the number so that it wasn't always obvious, because in some of them it's really obvious. So in 1, 2 and 3 it was especially obvious, because the first drawing was a character and it was only one person, and it was a big number 1 on their shirt. Number 2 was just part of the drawing, so it wasn't really hidden, and number 3 was outlined, so I didn't hide that either, and not only was there the number, but it had kind of a force field around it. So from that point onward, I'd start to do creative ways of incorporating a number into the drawing. But in case you haven't been watching my Inktober videos, I'll just briefly say that what happened was I tried to change every single drawing afterwards, because number 2 was similar to this one. It was similar to this drawing I'm making here in certain ways. But number 3, I made just egg beaters. So I did look up different types and designs of egg beaters, and instead of drawing from the pictures that I found from the search, I instead decided to do the design that I'd be seeing, but from a different perspective. And I'd make the page full of egg beaters. And the reason is the 3rd CD I titled Egg Beater way back when I made the CD, months ago. That was the reason for that number 3, which is red ink, was made that way. But for Inktober then, what happened was I started to change what I would draw. So I'd draw from a still image from a television show that I'd like, then I'd draw a page full of just hatching the next day and cross hatching, and then instead of that, the day after, I'd do a landscape, and then just try to change it every single day so that it was something different. And at some point, I think it was the 23rd of October, it hit me that I need to start doing horror films because Halloween is upon me. So I decided to change up and go to horror, watch a horror film every day, and then take a still image from the horror film and draw from that. That was an additional challenge, but I also added on top of that challenge, I decided to start doing a daily vlog where I would show where I'd been during the day. I was having some quite busy days where I'd be driving to galleries and either picking up or bringing back work from that place. So I thought I can film this, edit it together and upload it, and have half the video being a vlog and the other half being an art making video. I really enjoyed that, and I'm going to keep doing that again in the future. But that made it a bit difficult to do that every single day. Part of the reason why it's taken me 10 days to make videos again is because I just needed the break. I also, as I said, wasn't well at some point. I had a bit of a severe illness hit me all of a sudden. And there's reasons why I was ill. It wasn't just out of nowhere. It was realised why that had happened. Certain sequence of events had led up to my illness. But I've recovered now, and it basically stopped me from producing anything any earlier. But Inktober really changed the way that I make drawings as well. It really made that more efficient. And I'm going to make a video soon about that, showing the other times when I've engaged with the challenge and tried to discuss the values and the detriment of engaging with a drawing every single day for a month. Because I do think that it's got its highs and lows, its good points and its negative aspects as well. But this was something which I really enjoyed, and I do recommend that if you're going to do it, try to let it guide you into a creative space, because that is the best thing to get out of doing something like this type of challenge, is to push yourself into a realm you haven't previously explored before. So that's what I tried to do, and no regrets from me at all.